Still looking at those couple of accidents this morning, and they're going to be at I-20 eastbound at Longs Pond Road and also 20 westbound just before Alpine Road. Don't forget those dry air, gusty winds today, so that burn notice is still in effect. Don't burn anything. Nothing at all. Your high today, 74, low tonight, 41. Tomorrow, 72 for a high and 49 for an overnight low. Friday, 82 for a high, but under cloudy skies. Captain Dave, WIS TV Traffic Center.
All right, let's remind you, we're 2 days away. I got to check this morning with old Rock Lucas, see how many spots we got. As of the end of the show yesterday, I think we were down to one. So, but the 107.5 The Game Spring Golf Classic coming up on Friday. This year we're partnering up with Lexington County Gamecock Club. Be a lot of fun. We got some breakfast sausage out there. We have Hardee's providing more breakfast. Firehouse Subs is providing lunch. We will have all Saki's Wine and Spirits providing breakfast beverages. It's going to be a really good time. If you can, sign up today. You want to get that spot, 803-755-2000. Again, that's 803-755-2000. Get signed up today and come join us on Friday. I just choked right there thinking about how great this golf tournament's going to be. 803-404-6100. All right, Marquel Blackwell. First year. Now, remember, if you remember, last year during spring, he almost pulled a James Cooley.
He had a wandering eye. His eye was wandering. There was some rumors, and it never happened for whatever reason or another. But there was some conversation about him not going to be here, about him about him taking another job.
So he did that. So here's the thing about that: maybe a wandering eye, maybe not. Maybe he was going to leave for Ohio State.
Oh no, his eye was wandering.
Okay,
his eyes were wandering. His feet were walking.
Well, and remember, one of the things that happened with that, he didn't speak during the spring.
Yeah, mysteriously, it was like, I don't know where's Marquel? Marquel, where are you?
Mysteriously didn't speak, so we only heard him in the fall. Yesterday we got to hear from him again, and one of the things he talked about was having a alpha back, similar to a Rocket Sanders, or a running back by committee approach. Here's what he had to say.
Well, obviously, if you got an alpha, it makes it all easier, right? And I mean, I've been around a lot of different. I've been around. You haven't been an alpha, you having two guys, or having three guys. And however that works, you know what I mean. Ultimately, we're gonna need 3 to 4 guys in this conference, and and just making sure we have consistent play, and those guys competing with each other day in and day out, and just making sure they prepare themselves for it. So I mean that's the topic every day in our meetings. And we just got to continue to progress and stay in the moment, take it a day at a time, get better at the things we need to get better at, and just keep moving forward.
The rare quadruple coaching cliche. The rare quadruple coaching cliche in a row. He hit them. Do things, get better, moving forward, day after day, time after time. The rare. Hit it 4 times in a row. So we learned a little bit about Marquel in that quote. What did we learn about him?
His voice is deep.
Okay, yes.
Number one,
yes.
I would have not gotten that voice.
Yep.
I would have not gotten that voice.
A little bit more of a drawl than I would have. And I was trying to look up where he's from.
Okay.
A little bit more of a drawl.
Been around. Been around.
His SEC passport is stamped?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, both.
Okay. So I look up where he's from. So a little bit more of a drawl than I thought. Deep, smooth voice, very smooth. But he hit the coaching cliches, almost like sonic rings. He hit them in a row. Bing, bing, bing. So we're learning a little bit about Marquel. But then he also spoke about the idea at hand is, would you rather have an alpha back or would you rather have a back by committee? I think he answered it perfectly. Yes, you would rather have one. But if you can't, you prefer to have a bunch of guys that can go.
One of the guys that they want to be that guy that we got excited about last year was Jarwan Howell. Howell looked like he was coming on in the bowl game, had an unfortunate fumble in that game, and then we didn't see him a whole lot. Marquell Blackwell talked about Jarwan Howell yesterday during his media press conference.
Jawan got a lot of potential. I know you all from the outside see it, and but he just got to continue to progress. He's still a young player. A lot of things that he got to get better at. I told those guys, I always use this deal, man. I was fortunate and blessed to play with Curtis Martin when he was at the Jets, and he was in there for rookie minicamp. He was in there for minicamp. He was in there for training camp. He was in there, and you like Curtis, what, you know what I mean? He say, I know the plays, but, you can always get better at what the defenses is, what your opponent do, you know what I mean? So there's a lot. It's still, even though some of these guys have played a lot, there's still ways that you could get better. You know what I mean? And just making sure they stand in the moment, making sure they're doing the thing. Looking at the things and doing the things that they need to do to continue to progress. And, just taking this spring as learning, getting better, and focusing on moving forward.
What do you take from that?
Well, one, took a page out of the Dow Loggers playbook, mentioning his NFL experience.
There you go.
So you got to pull the NFL experience. So he pulled in Curtis Martin. So that's a key that we learned about him. Again, the dismount with coaching cliches at the end, very true. Didn't hear much in there about the assessment of Jarwan Howell as opposed to the other running backs that they have. Still need to hear about the vets that are in the room, the elder statesmen, the old guys, as opposed to the young guys, and what he's thinking and who's going to take the reins as far as those positions are concerned.
I'll tell you what, let's do this real quick. This is number 19. This is a quick clip here because we heard him talking about Jarwan Howell. Let's go ahead and hear about Rasul Faison and
Don't
Oscar.
you dare. Don't you dare.
I was close.
Don't you dare make that mistake.
Rasul Faison, and this is the differences between Oscar Adaway and Rasul Faison.
A little different. Oscar's done a great job of getting better. I mean, he's gotten better. You can see the improvements, you know what I mean, from last year to the three practices we've had so far. Sewell, just continue to learn him, continue to watch him grow. He's played a lot of football, so some things come to him natural. But those two guys are doing a really good job right now.
Man, a few words. But by the way, just for the record on this, right now, Mike Furry had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 clips that went a minute or longer.
Okay. All right. Now, see, this is the analytics I really want to get into.
There are no clips of Marquell Blackwell going more than 50 seconds. We gave you the longest with Jarwan Howell.
We don't need to learn about the players. We'll see them with our eyes. We need to hear about these coaches. And what we learned is that Mike. So where would you put Where would you put Marquell Blackwell on the lozenge scale? 1 to 5 lozenges. 5 being Sterling Lucas.
He's a 4.
He's a 4. Okay.
Yeah.
What about Mike Fury?
Need to re-listen to him maybe one time. We might have to come back to that.
Mike Fury was pretty strong on the lozenge scale.
Might have to come back to that a little bit on that. 803-404-6100. We will get back into a little bit of baseball if you want to weigh in this morning when we return. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Captain David Ayer filling in. It is the early game. Coming up tomorrow night, it is Carolina Calls with Coach Paul Maneri right here at 107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. You can make sure you can tune in for that. Preston, I feel like Paul Maneri is hearing me say that right now. Probably driving to the ball field like, oh boy. Not in the mood for that.
Got to show up, sir.
So what do we got?
46 runs to 17. 46 runs given up, 17 runs scored in the past 4 games for the South Carolina Gamecocks. That is essentially the story. Cannot win giving a lot to a little. Cannot win giving up runs late in ball games. It's going to be very difficult moving forward if that's going to continue to be their performance for the year. And that's why I said this was a huge game to see how they performed. And what they did in this game was very similar to what they had done in previous games against ranked teams. They now fall to 1-9 versus teams ranked, and with it not getting easier as you move forward.
No, you're right. And again, number 1, Tennessee comes in. So I think we have here a vibe check. Is that where we
No, it's not fair to do a vibe check right now because the vibe check is dead.
Well, I don't know if it's a vibe check per se, but I think it's now it turns to what becomes your expectation for the season. Or do we have to wait this thing out through another week?
Well,
I mean, at this point, you just gave the numbers.
Then, yeah.
You just gave the numbers.
46 runs given up, 17 runs scored in the past 4 games.
And the part about those numbers that you just gave out is those are good baseball teams. Okay, you've got more good baseball teams lined up. You still got LSU on the schedule after later on down the line. You got Auburn on the schedule. Auburn's actually ranked pretty high. You have good baseball teams that you're going to have to deal with.
So my question is, are those good baseball teams or are we a bad baseball team? And right now we can still lean on the concept of those are good baseball teams. Those are good baseball teams. We get that. It's trending towards us being a bad baseball team. And that is a totally different evaluation than those teams are good. And that's where I'm trying to make the decisive decision here. Yes, those are good teams. Are we a bad team? That's what we have to figure out.
803-490-7411. That is how you can weigh in if you want to do so. I hate to say it, Preston. I think looking at it, honestly, this is not a good baseball team. There are flaws. What I'm trying to juxtapose that with is this was at least a regional team last year. Now, we played an audio clip yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, it might have been Monday, of Paul Maneri basically slipping it in there.
Very, very subtly.
But saying essentially, hey, we have to recruit our way out of this. Like, we've just got to recruit better players, and that's fine. But I think there's a lot of little things that go into him saying that. And the transfer portal changes things drastically as opposed to what it used to do. But I bring all this up because we know Paul Maneri's on a timeline here. It's hard to envision him here for more than 5 years. This is a win-now situation. Maybe, and this is where I go with the vibe check, not so much of what do you think about the team, but what do you think about the program? Like, are you saying, all right, are most people being willing to say, okay, we'll give you this year. We'll look at the dude from previous years, and we'll blame him for what's occurred here. Or are you like, hey, we knew you were on a timeline, and right now we're not stacking up with the best teams, the top 25 teams in the country. That's my kind of vibe check. Not so much of what you think about this baseball team on March 26th compared to what you thought back on I think Valentine's Day, February 14th. It's what are you thinking about this baseball program and what it's got to do to get back to the top quickly. Is this a quick rebuild? Is this something that can be done where, all right, we shrug off year one and just say, okay, you're forgiven?
That depends on, I think that's the
vibe check to me.
That's an interesting question, and we can take that check, but it depends on how bad you think this team is. Are they digging themselves out of a hole? Are they digging themselves out of a grave? Are they digging themselves out of that sinkhole that I saw on social media yesterday where 65-foot sinkhole just appeared in the street? I didn't know whether it was AI or not, but it happened. So how far? Is this is this a ditch? Is this a grave? Is this a valley? Is this where are we digging ourselves from in order to see where we can go? I think that's sort of the question of how do we have to evaluate it now.
803-404-6100. Co-pilot weighs in, who has always got something with uniforms. Bad baseball team, good baseball team uniforms.
Now, sir, you're right. I'm going to be honest. When you lose on the road in those Gamecock grays, it feels a little bit better.
It just feels a little better?
A little better.
I have not looked at all the scores from last night. One of the texters weighs in. Now, this is part of baseball. I do get this. We're not making one game the situation here, but texter weighs in and says Missouri State beat Arkansas last night. And so, but it's in that situation, you chalk it up, I think, and you say, all right, well, that's kind of one game, whereas what we're saying is this is 10 games, 1 and 9 against top 25 opponents.
Yeah, we don't ever want to, yes. One game, we don't want to get into one game scenarios.
I'm looking for last night's. I'm glancing now through last night's scores. Yeah, Missouri State beat Arkansas 14-13. So
good for Missouri State.
But the point is not a one-game scenario here. It is now a sample size of 10 games that we glance at, Preston. And I think that's where, yeah, you got to say the SEC's good, but we've got to be that good too. And you've brought it up a couple times. It used to be other teams looked at us on the schedule and was like, man, we got to play that team. They're in the top 15. They're in the top 20. Now other teams are not looking at it the same way.
No, they're not. Because we're not good.
Do we have another biggest game of the year on the schedule?
No.
Oh, okay. That settled that problem?
That was settled.
All right. So if
we're good for right now.
If you're worried about us redoing that.
No, we're good. It was the biggest game of the year for a reason. We're good. We are now firmly in evaluation mode.
803-404-6100. We'll get more into that coming up in the next hour. Baseball falling. Hey, softball won. Men's golf. I know it's not our Gamecock whip around, but they had an impressive day yesterday. We'll get to a few other things as we roll through. Also, spring games. All right, what do we got on spring games, Preston? Well, we'll discuss that in hour two as well. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
From the WIS-TV Traffic Center, we're looking at wrecks at Calks Ferry at Pond Branch Road. Also, I-20 just having multiple problems in the northeast part of town this morning. 20 eastbound before Longs Pond, broken down car. Also got another broken down car. 20 westbound at Clemson Road, and another broken down car. What's going on? I-20 westbound just before Alpine Road. This is Captain Dave in the WIS-TV Traffic Center.
$7 a.m. on a Wednesday morning, March the 26th, as we get you up and get you going here. Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Captain Dave Adair. We got all kinds of stuff for you going on this morning, coming off of last night's loss at the hands of North Carolina. South Carolina baseball just struggling right now. 4 straight losses for the Gamecocks, 4 straight games of giving up double-digit runs, 12, 12, 11, and last night 13. Just not what exactly you need right now from this team.
Yeah, it's a bad loss. Again, one of the things we always talk about with coaches is this idea of sometimes we joke about it with Dawn, how maybe you want to lose just so you can point out some issues to a team and point out some problems. I present, going back to the Morehead State series, that maybe the bad thing for this team was winning that series. If you go back to those series, they won the first on Friday night, they won 11-7. Not great. The next night, on Saturday, they won 16-11. Not great. On Sunday, they won 1-0. And at the time we were presented, everybody thought about it as, hey, just win, move forward. They're increasing. They're winning close games. But maybe that was actually a canary in the coal mine about maybe this team was not very good. Maybe they should have been handling a team like Morehead State in a lot better fashion. And I think at the time they got the benefit of the doubt, saying that they were winning these games, they were winning close games, they were winning games in different variations.
Kind of prepping for the SEC play?
Right. But maybe that's not how we should have been looking at that particular series at all. When you look at those games, giving up 11 runs to Morehead State, giving up 7 runs to Morehead State, only scoring 1 run against Morehead State. Maybe that was more indicative of what we were going to see the rest of the season as opposed to them preparing for the rest of the season.
Again, last night, I want to say interesting, and I feel like that does not do justice to what occurred last night. 11 pitchers take to the mound for South Carolina. Again, it's a game that they come kind of roaring out of the gates. Back-to-back home runs in the bottom half of the first, Preston. 2 shots right out of the gate from Nathan Hall and Ethan Petrie to build a 2-0 lead. North Carolina would get a home run to left center in the top half of the second, and then South Carolina would be able to score a third run to go up 3-1 through 2. But they give up 3 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 3 in the sixth, 5 in the eighth, and it ends up leading to a 13-8 game. And we spent the last segment kind of talking about it. My question isn't so much about this team. I feel like we know what this team is. They're inadequate for this schedule. That's a problem. There's nothing they can do about it. You can't. Transfer portal doesn't work where you can play Arkansas last week and go like, hey, a couple of you guys want to hop in the portal, come to our dugout midweek and play Tennessee next week. Unfortunately, that's not how it works at all. South Carolina's played good teams. All right, they're 1-9 against top. What is actually now top 21 teams. You got the North Carolina in there.
Top 21.
Top 21. Number 9, Oklahoma. Number 2, Arkansas. Number 6, Clemson. By the way, if you want to feel a little bit better, just a little bit better, Coastal Carolina, good job last night. 8-2 over Clemson.
Okay.
I don't think it helps, but you know what? If you just need something there just to kind of maybe push you in a direction this morning. But 1-9 against these top 21 teams. And Preston, again, you look at the schedule and what's coming down the pipe. It's not like going, oh, don't worry. This comes to a conclusion. You get number 1 Tennessee last night, who beat Queens 14-3 and is 23-2 on the season.
Yeah, you have more games coming forward. And again, that team has to figure out who they are. But another bigger question is when we talk about, because we're going to have a whole lot of time to talk about moving forward. But if we're looking at this year, right here where we are, was the media right? The bad guys, the media, the bad guys who never know what they're talking about, the people who predict things and they're not in here, were they actually right when they predicted this team to be 14th in the SEC? Did they have that nailed? We always give Vegas credit for being right. Was the media actually right on this team? I'm just asking, these are questions I think we need to ask at this point.
If we finish 15th or 16th, were they wrong? I hate to do that to you, but that's where I was going to go with that. Because, again, it's going to be tough, and that is what the SEC is about. And it used to not matter. It used to be just win anyway. This year, my question is going to be a slight question of are you giving them a pass? Are you looking?
No.
Was it all fair? Was it all fair yesterday? We joked about the old Lou Holtz, write 2 letters when you come. If you're being fired, write 2 letters. Tell the coach after a losing season, after the first one, open it, and it says blame the previous coach. The second letter, if you have a losing season, says write 2 letters. Right. Tell them to write 2 letters. So that's my question is like, all right, how are people taking in this team? Are you taking it in as, all right, I'm blaming more of Mark Kingston, Paul Maneri, and this group will get it right? Or are you going, no, we know the timeline we're on. Let's get out to the phone line. Steve wants to weigh in this morning. Steve, how you doing? What's on your mind?
Good. How y'all guys doing?
What's up, man?
I was before the season, but I think the first series I did call in, but I didn't get through because I had to go to work. But I was going to mention to the Gamecock fans, it's like the expectation of the baseball team to me is who the coach is and what he achieved other places. Okay, I understand that, and I would be like encourage the fans to be patient with it because. We all jumped that same bandwagon when Steve Spurrier came, and it took him 3 or 4 years, so I didn't really expect too much out of this baseball team this year. I did expect a little better than they're doing, but, a coach got to get his type of players in, so I'm not going to really hold it over his head this season. Preferably I would have – I like this guy because he's got a good track record, but I would have preferred just to let Miley do it because he – was already there, and he's much younger, and he got the time to really grow the team. And this guy's 69 years old, so we don't know how much longer he's going to be. So the expectation, you're going to have to calm down a little bit with this baseball team until, he get his play in, and then if it's still the same, then, okay, then raise the concern then. But just be patient with it right now. But, let's just stay full for him. Thank you.
There you go. That's one thing. All right. I mean, I think there's a lot of ways to look at it and try to. That's why I'm asking. Well, when I say vibe check,
here's the rub. It's hard to be patient when you just mentioned that the coach is 69 years old, and the coach also mentioned that this is not a long-term project, and so the idea of patience.
And by the way, let me remember. It was kind of implied that we want to get this thing going so we can hand it off to Monty Lee.
No, it was said. It wasn't implied. Right, well. It was said. It wasn't implied. It was said. So, in a normal circumstance, maybe more patience would be granted. In this circumstance, that's a little bit more difficult for folks to grasp because we understand that we're on a shorter timeline.
So that was baseball last night. Didn't go particularly well. Women's softball, on the other hand, Preston, no problem whatsoever. 6-0, an absolute thumping of Clemson over at Beckham Field. So, and this is interesting because, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I had an idea of what exactly Ashley Chastain Woodard had coming back. But she's in a conference that is on par and probably a slightly better Then Pulmonary entered. The SEC in softball, absolutely ridiculous. And currently they're 25-6. Now they are 2-4 in conference. They are 2-4, although that one sweep there, they got swept by Oklahoma. No shame in that. But last night they absolutely demolished Clemson 6-0 in that rivalry game. And now they'll get set for a 3-game series on the road. As we just mentioned, it doesn't get easier. Number 3 LSU this weekend down in Baton Rouge. So you get another chance to go and try and pick up some quality wins for them. But 25-6 in her first year and looking competitive and looking like an NCAA tournament team. They're a top 10 team right now.
Yeah, so that team is obviously moving forward, and I think we can officially say that they're for real. When they're going to LSU this weekend, they are going to win. They're going to attempt to win the series, not hang around, not see what they can do, not give it the old college try. They're going down to LSU to try and win the series.
4-3, 6-4. 8-5. 8-5 they are against top 25 teams. 8-5. So I was trying to do that math. It just dawned on me as I was scrolling through their record. So that was the good news. Also, I mentioned golf. I know that we usually do our Friday whip around, and we will remember to do that. But Preston, yesterday should be noted, Rob Bradley's team rallying from 10 strokes down to tie Purdue, his former team, yesterday down at Bulls Bay in a golf tournament. They weren't able to quite pull it off yesterday, but they were able to rally, trailing by 10 shots going into the final round. They get Purdue to a playoff. Purdue ended up winning it. But men's golf, you talk about some of the programs around here and first-year coaches. Men's golf has turned things around pretty quickly under first-year head coach Rob Bradley.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, and obviously going against his old squad, I'm sure that felt good for him.
And there's also a lot of people out there that would tell you South Carolina golf, both men's and women's, with the golf we have around our area. Obviously, the Masters coming up, the RBC Heritage. You got Quail Hollow up there in Charlotte. We should have good golf teams here. So good for them. 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in this morning. We'll get into some spring football games. What do you got for us, Preston?
Hey, man, are they going? Are they coming? Are we changing these things? Coaches are throwing out dumb ideas everywhere. Spring games, college football is back, baby.
We'll get into it. We'll let Preston explain. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, and Captain David Dare. It is the early game.
All right, some good news finally for you out there on I-20 in the northeast part of town. We've had a slow morning there around Clemson Road. We had 3 breakdowns all in a row, but now they have been cleared up. So the good news is that is now rolling well. Going to be breezy today with a high of 74, gusty winds in the afternoon. Tomorrow, 72 for a high, 49 for a low. Increasing clouds with a high of 82 for the weekend, but possibility of rain showers moving in for both Saturday and Sunday. This is Captain Dave, WIS-TV Traffic Center.
Speaking of baseball, let's do a couple things here. Number one, let's remind you about the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. All you got to do is go to 1075thegame.com and get registered. And if a Gamecock batter hits a grand slam, guess what? You win all the money in the pot. Pot currently at $275. Feel like they're coming up on a grand slam. One thing about this team, Preston, Arkansas's got great pitching, but it feels like this team can put some grand slams out there. So I would encourage you to go and get registered, 1075thegame.com, for the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. And again, if a batter hits a grand slam, if a Gamecock batter hits a grand slam, you can win the cash in the pot. The pot is currently $275. I like my odds on that if you signed up.
Okay.
Maybe not Friday night or Saturday, but it's coming again. I don't feel like we're going to be waiting again into the SEC tournament. So also, let's give away a family 4-pack of tickets right now. 803-404-6100. Let's give away one family 4-pack of tickets to Friday's game, 7 o'clock first pitch against Tennessee. Family 4-pack of tickets to Friday's game. That'll be against Tennessee. Caller number 4. We'll take caller number 4. Maybe that'll break the losing streak. 803-404-6100. Caller number 4 right now wins one family 4-pack of tickets to the game coming up Friday night at 7 o'clock over at Founders Park. And people are calling in. That shows you people still want to go. Good thing there.
Never would doubt people still will want to go. It's going to be a great environment. It's going to be a great opportunity. It's going to be a great chance to beat the number 1 team in the nation. You might be able to see
good point.
You might see a streak get started. It's a great time to go see it, and it's always a good time to go to the ballpark. So, yeah, of course people would want to go.
Speaking of great places, good times, spring football games are great places and good times, typically, until Matt Rule stepped in. Matt, the Ogre Rule, stepped in and started taking away spring games, and now we've gotten to a point where, it seems like these things are becoming obsolete. But, Preston, it seems like some coaches they've got plans.
Coaches are saying stuff.
Stuff.
And I don't mind when coaches get in front of microphones and say things, because it gives us chance to get in front of a microphone and say things. We had a running tally of the coaches who had eliminated the spring game. Nebraska, Florida, there were some other teams. Other teams were going to reconfigure. I believe Oklahoma is doing what they call the Crimson Combine, where they're going to have players going through drills. So that's going to be that. So that's what Oklahoma was doing. Now, while Oklahoma is doing that this year, the opposing coach in their now deceased rivalry of Bedlam, our guy, Mike Gundy, he was on the front of a microphone, and you never know what you're going to get when Mike Gundy gets in front of a microphone. It's always guaranteed to be interesting, though. Here's Mike Gundy with his proposal for what he thinks of the spring game. Dave? $24.
Honestly, that's something that we've talked about. I think it's a great idea. I had kind of forgot about it until it got brought up. Somebody had texted me an article or something about that, and when you read it, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, honestly, for us, we should do a home and home with OU in the spring. they have I think ours is on, I don't know what the date is, but it's a Saturday prior to the last week, something like that. Okay, so they should come here on the 19th, and I think theirs is earlier in the year. We should go down there and play a home and home in the spring against them. Charge $25 a head. They can use it for NIL. We'll use it for NIL. If they don't want to do 2 in one spring, we can do one here this year, do it there next year, and split the gate. Because we get tired of practicing against each other. It's not going to be a live game because, I don't know what Coach Venables would say, but I would be concerned with making it live just because of injury. But nobody really has live scrimmages anymore, so you make it a full thud like we're doing and practice against them just like they do in the NFL.
There's your problem. That don't work.
This clip got dumber and dumber and stupider and more idiotic as it went along. He just kept going and going and going. I was like, hey, Gundy, when you going to stop with this? So let's start at the top. First and foremost, 2 spring games in the spring. It's not going to happen, right?
Well, we're inching closer to a spring season. Let him keep rolling with that.
Okay, so 2 spring games, home and home against OU. So what you're telling me is you all, mainly Oklahoma State, but you decided that, hey, we're not going to play this game in the regular season. And, oh, by the way, would you like a spring game as a complimentary because of the game that you're not getting in the regular season? Maybe that'll do. So maybe we'll do Bedlam in the spring. Very bad idea. Almost disrespectful even to think, hey, you guys don't want to – you're not having this game anymore in the regular season because of conference realignment, because of logistical things or what Oklahoma State said it was. Hey, how about the spring? No. Oh, and then you're going to charge for it. Okay. When you haven't been charging for it. So now we're going to charge for a spring game. And then he goes and he says, oh, yeah, but then it's not going to be like a real live scrimmage. It's going to be live thud. What are you talking about? The idea that two teams who are alleged rivals are just going to meet on a practice field and have what we would consider a live thud practice, not actually live. What do you, Mike, come on. Maybe you're losing it.
Look, I was with him on most of it, not all of it, until he got to the we're going to have a game that's not a game. Because let's start with this. If you want to play 2 spring games, I don't think that's smart, but whatever. As I just mentioned, fine. You're giving me a little bit of football. All right, let's start with it as a spring game because then I got to circle back to that at the end. You want to charge? I'm okay with that. Fine. As long as the money goes, as he said, NIL. I think we're heading to that if we keep spring games up. Something's going to go on besides just paying for concessions. What was his third point? There was a third one in there that was – this is where it started to take a turn to ridiculous town.
The home and home, we can do 1 year or the other. I mean, it was a lot of ridiculous. He was lost in ridiculous.
I was okay,
but
then
when he opened his mouth,
when he went down the path of, well, it's not going to be a real game, and I don't know what Brent Venables would say. Okay, you can suggest because a couple of people are weighing in, and I agree with them. Richard says Deion said the same thing, bringing another team to practice for a couple days and then play a spring game.
And I objected to that also.
I'm okay with that. NFL already does it. It's during the preseason, but I'm okay. I'm okay there. However, you can't do it with your rival. People aren't going to – you can't lose. Number one, you got to play a game. You can't lose in a game where I know rosters are now evolving and changing to where with the transfer portal they're up. But you simply can't lose a meaningless game, by the way. You think a bowl game is meaningless? You think playing in the Citrus Bowl or whatever bowl Oklahoma played in this? Did Oklahoma play in a bowl? Oklahoma didn't play in a bowl, I think. This game would be even more meaningless to the coaches because the coaches, Preston, you can probably attest to this, except for Rick Minner, who decided to send y'all to the bottom of the hill in 2004 because that was a brilliant idea. The coaches are worried about winning and losing, not the fact that the fans dislike the rival.
Yeah, but coaches also have egos.
That too. That's what I'm saying, winning and losing.
And so when Brent Venables and Mike Gundy's offense against Brent Venables' defense, you think they're going to be like, hey, let's give them a look here. Let's let the
no blitzing. No blitzing.
Right, Brent Venables, no blitzing. Get out of here, man. And this is why you got to have media to say, hey, Mike, that is stupid. But they just let him just talk without anybody raising any type of objection. You just give him this wide open field, and nobody in the media says, several reasons why that won't work, Coach. What about X, Y, and Z? What are we doing? This is it's a bad idea. It might happen. Who knows? Bad ideas happen all the time. But the premise of it is silly.
The game part is dumb. What he's going for with the game. I do think this is where I think we are going to get to within the next 5 years. The concept. I mean, we already have it. Baseball does fall scrimmages. South Carolina did somebody correct me on this. I know we played College of Charleston this year down there, and they lost. There was one other game. I want to say maybe Air Force here. I can't remember, but it was a fall scrimmage. Basketball already has the secret scrimmage on top of the exhibition game that you have. And as Shane Beamer and many other coaches have pointed out, there's nothing like that for football. We will get, I think, as we continue to evolve the NCAA legislation and college football continues to break away from the NCAA, we will get the coaches preaching for these spring events. Maybe you don't get the game, but Preston, where South Carolina invites Virginia Tech down, or North Carolina State, Clemson invites Georgia over, or Clemson invites Florida up. You get the point. Like, I feel like we were there. 803-404-6100. A texter says, dude was spitballing. Another texter weighs in. Zach weighs in. Be careful what you say. He's a man. He's 57. Steve-O goes with Gundy is onto something. And Brian goes, the big question, how is Gundy still the coach at Oklahoma State?
Kind of consistent, man. He wins 8 to 10 every year except for last year. So he's gonna keep him in the mix.
803-404-6100. I feel like you're a little worked up. Tell you what, we'll hit a break, come back, get to Ray on the spring game thing, and you've got another thing?
Of course.
And another thing. We'll get to those here as we roll along. It is the early game. Bill Gunner for Zero Risk Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. All right, well, this is going to be kind of sad. We're starting to wrap up spring cleaning month. Come on, you've been aware of this. I've promoted this for like 25 days now. March is officially spring cleaning month, and that means it's time to take advantage of Zero Risk Carpet and Air Duct's spring cleaning sale right now. You can give them a phone call, 803-262-4020. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $119 plus a free hallway. That's right. Mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $119 plus a free hallway. You can book online, ZeroResColumbia.com, or you can give them a phone call, 803-262-4020, or again, schedule online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Again, mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, and get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $119 plus a free hallway. Zero-Res, spell it backwards or forwards, it's the right way to clean.
Oh, no, we were good on I-20 out around Clemson Road, but no more. Now we have a wreck out there. Just happened moments ago. Also, I-20 westbound at I-26, that little thing there where you try to get off 20 on the 26 where you have no time and all that. Got a wreck right there. Also, Airport Boulevard at I-26, a wreck there as well. This is Captain Dave in the WIS-TV Traffic Center.
$7:34 as we roll along here on your Wednesday morning. Hump day to me, not to Preston Thorne. Thorne, you say it's
Hump day's Thursday.
Thursday, yeah. To me, this is the one I got to get over. Then the week, and even more so. We haven't talked about it this morning, but even so more this week with the NCAA basketball tournament getting fired up again tomorrow. 803-404-6100. Back to the phone lines we go. Ray wants to weigh in on the spring game. Ray, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
Hey, good. Good morning. How's everybody doing there? You doing all right, guys?
Good.
Doing good.
All right. Hey, Preston, I was going to ask the spring football games, does that do anything for you?
No, not me personally, no.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way, but I was just thinking about, some of the spring games I've gone to and the way, the four-letter network shows a lot of the SEC spring games and that kind of thing. As a fan going to a spring game, you want to see offense versus defense. I mean, you don't want to see the team break out and do exercises and do drills and, the offense running plays without the defense. You want to see an offense lined up against the defense. I think sometimes these coaches get a little too, I don't know if the word's cute, or they try to make it like a controlled scrimmage. I mean, people want to see offense versus defense. And I think the spring games are missing and some schools may do this. I think they're really missing a big opportunity. Hey, charge a small fee and let people donate more and let the money go to some charitable cause. I don't know, families that are homeless or people in need. I mean, I think it would be a great opportunity to help the community out. And I just want to get you guys' take on that. Thanks.
Yeah, I think so. To what you said, what you were just talking about, I think you can do something. I feel like I could be wrong. I feel like we've done something like this in the past where, maybe it was a canned goods drive or, $3, $5 admission that basically was able to cover, some certain stuff. So, yeah, Preston, I mean, I will say I think that this year we'll look back and maybe say was the turning point for spring games.
Yeah, I mean, there's then inflection points in spring games. It's happened over time. There's a long history of spring games. The date to look forward to is April 10th. That's when the NCAA is meeting about the exemption, whether or not they're going to grant Colorado and Syracuse an exemption to have their joint practices together. And so we'll learn something pretty soon about what the NCAA thinks about this. Somebody has to be the first. Will this be something the first time to happen? I imagine things will be changing rapidly. Either teams will be going towards not having them, or they'll be going more towards these joint things. But it's as far as Gundy spitballing, that's what people do at the bar on a napkin, not just in front of a gaggle of media and people. You could spit. There's a place and time for spitballing, and that's fine. We just don't need it from you as the representative of an organization.
We'll continue on with some of this conversation, but you've got another thing.
And another thing. If Sean Miller left Xavier, he was never going to stay at South Carolina. And I want to just say that. I don't know how close it was to happening, if it was going to happen, if that's where you thought it was going to be. But if you thought it was going to be Sean Miller here at the University of South Carolina as the coach, he wasn't going to stay. Now, he might have brought us a little bit of success, but, hey, we had a little bit of success with Lamont. Sean Miller has left Xavier again for a big job. The people in Xavier are very hurt.
I don't know. Did you see who they hired?
I saw who they hired. But they're hurt because their guy allegedly left them for the bigger job, which turned out to be a true loser leaves town match. Xavier and Texas played in the first 4 in, and the winner took the, in wrestling, the winner goes home with the belt and the girl.
Uh-huh.
Well, the winner goes home with the champ, with the job. So Sean Miller beat Rodney Terry.
That's a good point.
Took his job from him. He said, "You give me your job. I'm taking it."
Xavier was all sitting over there watching during the game, like, "Oh, look at him. We got the guy. We're beating him. Wait, where's our guy going? Why is he holding that burnt orange tie?"
So who really won that game? That's a good question, right? Did Xavier win that game, or did Texas actually win the game? I don't know. But the point is, obviously, Sean Miller was linked to this job here years ago. The infamous place with him being in town. Was he in town? Was he at the steakhouse? Was he not? My bigger point was he wasn't going to stay here.
No.
Because the next job that opened, he was out the door as fast as he could. We needed him. He needed us. It didn't work. Maybe it's for the better that never happened.
There you go. And that's another thing.
That's another thing.
From Preston
These
Thorne.
stories don't die. They always come back around.
803-404-6100, how you can weigh in if you want this morning. We come back. We'll be joined by our good buddy Toby Edwards of the Carolina Cup that's taking place this weekend. We'll talk with him. No corgi racing, but we'll give you a quick look back again at the Carolina Cup coming up this coming weekend. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for the Ecton Law Firm. Tax season is officially in full force, and my question to you is, have you gotten them done, and have you received a nasty notice from the IRS? Maybe you or your business is in a little bit of trouble here. If that is the case, it is time to call John Ecton and his team with proven local solutions. They can help resolve your income or business tax issues for good. You just need to give them a phone call and get a free consultation. 803-771-9800. Again, that's 803-771-9800. That's how you can reach out to John Ecton and his team right now. You need to do it, whether you're in Columbia, Florence, Myrtle Beach, Aiken, Augusta. Again, they have a team dedicated to making sure that they help you navigate the IRS maze. So give John Ecton a call call 803-771-9800. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Oh, there we go. Thank you. 7:46 on your Wednesday morning as we roll along here and get you up and get you going. We may be joined momentarily by Toby Edwards of the Carolina Cup to talk about that upcoming event here this weekend, not far away from Kentucky Derby weekend. Talk about a niche kind of event that's a lot of fun to get dressed up and go to, Preston Thorne. Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, I know a lot of people do parties. A lot of people get dressed up. It's an event, so it was always a cool thing. I think I want to do something where we just report live from niche sports, where we just talk, just have people drop in from niche sports such as horse racing, hockey, maybe NBA basketball, whatever you consider. Because I think some of these things that may be of interest to some people, but everybody should maybe know about them.
Well, we'll continue to keep you updated on that, and then really get into some Kentucky Derby when it comes. Back to some of the spring game stuff that we're talking about here. All right, Preston Thorne is the commissioner, because I've got a couple people saying just do away with spring games, just give them 15 practices, let them do it behind closed, kind of what we were laughing about previously. Let's do away with spring games, just let them practice behind closed doors, and we don't need to do anything. What does Commissioner Preston Thorne say about spring practices?
Me, Commissioner Preston Thorne.
Commissioner Thorne.
Oh, we're gonna limit. We're not gonna have 15. Because we already meet in the spring, we already meet in the summertime, so we probably don't need 15. If I'm the commissioner, the coaches are definitely not going to like me because we're limiting the amount of practices that they have. If we're going to move towards the NFL model, we could go to something considered like OTAs or things of that nature where we bring in segments of the team to work on segmented things. But, yeah, if I'm commissioner, we might just eliminate spring altogether.
Really?
Yeah, because they meet all winter, which they didn't used to do. They meet and they drill all summer now, which they didn't used to do. So I'm not sure that there's actually a need for the for spring practice.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with you on that. That's an interesting take. Going back to, would you be interested in watching, let's say, over 3 weekends, a series of games between teams? Would you be interested in watching? All right, we got your opinion there. Would you be interested in watching a series of games between teams for like spring games, like Syracuse and Colorado?
No.
Does it catch your fancy, or if we realized whatever we got, the USFL or whatever, the XFL, whatever it is, we're good without all of that?
The point of football, the reason why football is fun is because there are stakes. If we're just playing in the spring just to run around and play, there's no stakes. We can wait till the fall. That's me personally. No, I would not be very interested in that.
803-404-6100. They are having spring practice, and we talked a little bit about Marquell Blackwell. Maybe you've never heard him speak.
I had never heard him speak.
Maybe you've never even seen him. Captain Dave, I tell you what, let's play. This is number 18. He's talking about the intensity of the running back room. There is some open spots there. We talked about Jarwan Howe. Here he is, a little bit of Marquell Blackwell from yesterday, talking about the intensity in the running back room.
Well, this was the first day of pads, so, I mean, they got a couple more days to do that. Been more of just making sure we align in the right way. We're doing our assignments, and we executing the plays with great fundamentals. This first day of pads, I'm going to go look at practice, and you know how this first day sometimes is, you got clean, things going, and some things are just a little, it's a little different. It's physical. Everybody got a lot of juice. So, we'll see how it goes. I mean, for the most part, pretty pleased with the progress so far, but we got a ways to go.
So that's what Marquell Blackwell sounds like. He also is a coaching cliche machine, isn't he?
He can. Seems like he can run them with the best of them. Like I said earlier in the show, he hit three like a triple Lutz of coaching cliches, just one after another. I was like, wow, that's impressive. He didn't even put a comma in them. He just kept going. So we're learning a little bit about Marquell as a communicator.
And then Mike Furry yesterday, one of the things that he talked about, I tell you what, I meant number 4, Captain Dave, number 4. This is Mike Furry yesterday talking about Nick Harbor coming into form at wide receiver.
I think the biggest thing is maturity, right? And I without getting too much into it, and Nick can speak a lot about it on his own and when he talks to you guys. But I think when you look at a Nick Harbor, I think everybody's expectations for Nick exceeded what his expectations were because he was so inexperienced at playing the position. And but when you look at his body size, you would just assume that he would be able to go out there and just dominate every game and every situation. Well, there's a lot that goes on to play wide out. I mean, it's not just running. I mean, you got to run as fast as you can. You got to get in and out of transitions. You got to be able to snap your head around. You got to be able to catch the ball when it's in flight, and you better be able to catch that ball while you're running 100 miles an hour after at that ball. There's a lot that goes on, and he just hasn't. He hadn't at that time really experienced a lot of that stuff, right? It was all just speculation. And I think now the biggest thing for Nick that we're all excited about, including himself, is he's caught balls in games. He's went and got footballs. We've relied on him on some past stuff last year, and I think towards the end of the season, the touchdown against the Missouri, I think it was, or the ball he caught over the shoulder against Missouri, and then the touchdown coming back against Akron or whatnot, and kind of starting to get in the flow of things. That builds that builds confidence, right? And I think the more and more he becomes confident with himself, the more and more we'll start exceeding our expectations of what we think of Nick Harbor. And I think the other thing, too, for Nick, I think the best thing about Nick is, I told Nick this the other day, the best thing that ever could happen to Nick is these six freshmen that are coming in. Because they don't, they're going to come in here and just do everything they can and do it right and do it as fast as they can, and he's going to be able to learn from them a little bit too, of how you're supposed to do stuff and see it the right way, and then be able to go out and emulate that also and add that to his game. And so it's kind of hand in hand with him coming back with experience, and then the new guys coming in that are going to be able to push him. And he's had 3 really good days here at spring.
Football's so funny, man. Imagine your job. It's like the best thing for your job is these new guys who are trying to take your job. It's going to be awesome, man. And in football, you're supposed to be like, yeah, coach, this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted people to come take my job. Football's a wild space, man. But he might be right. I don't know. Hey, sales guy, you need to see these new young hot sales guys who are better than you, younger than you, more hungrier than you are. Those are going to be good for you.
Go push you. That's not how you felt when Sean Smith was recruited and brought in?
It's a wild space, man. It's wild times.
We talk about that on signing day. So we did that 2 months ago, 3 months ago, back in December, where, like all the fans were like, oh, we got so-and-so, we got so-and-so. And there's players down at the athletic facility like, yeah, that's cool. That's really good. So maybe Nick Harbor was one of those. So we'll get into more of it in hour number 3. We'll take a look around the country. Andrew Luck's out there firing people. Well, that wasn't the news. It's his job title. I guess Stanford's just operating without an AD now. We'll get into that. And the New York Giants, they're going to be on Hard Knocks, right? Like, we're doing something here to create some kind of reality television show.
We need to. It needs to be done. This needs to be documented.
We'll get into all of that. Also get back into some baseball from last night. Gamecocks a 13-8 loser up in Charlotte, a game that they jumped out 2-0 on. Looked like they might control. They did not, and they gave up 5 more runs in the 8th inning to lose that one after tying it up 8-8. So we'll talk about that as well. A lot to get into as we roll along this morning. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Captain Dave Adair. It is the early game. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years, Mid-State Roofing has been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. And it's that proven history that is your assurance that they will get the job done for you. And not only will they get the job done, because of that 30 years, you know that they will get the job done with proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility. Because at Mid-State Roofing, they design and install bonded systems with a protective guarantee that keeps your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can give them a phone call, 803-356-1919. Again, that's 803-356-1919. Give Mid-State Roofing a call today. You'll speak with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee. Someone will be there to help you. So call Mid-State Roofing today, 803-356-1919. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Wow, what a mess. I-20 at Broad River Road. I don't know. This is just, looks like a nightmare there, that whole right-hand lane if you want to get off onto Broad River Road. It's going to be horrible there. They backed up into the emergency lane. That's how bad it is. Also, it's a problem on the other side of the road, east and westbound, really, there at I-20. So big problems. Also, we have a wreck at Old Cherokee at North Lake Drive, Airport Boulevard at 26, and I-20 westbound at Clemson Road, Hardscrabble at Clemson Road, North Main at Plumbers Road, and 378 at I-77. Captain Dave, WIS-TV Traffic Center.
$8 a.m., get up and get going if you haven't already. And if you are up and going, congratulations. Let's get the day rolling here. Hump day for me. Preston Thorne, on the other hand. Do you consider getting over the hump at 9 a.m. tomorrow? Or is it closer to the end of the day?
You got to end the day.
You got to end the day? Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Because, yeah, we got basketball. We got a lot here. We got basketball from that's coming up, Sweet 16 tomorrow night. I don't think any of y'all want a NIT update, do they, Preston? We can probably leave the NIT updates out.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure, because if so, I got to go back and write it down real quick. But tomorrow night, BYU and Alabama will be the early game, 7 o'clock. Maryland and Florida, it'll also be the early game, 7:39, so a 2 TV type night. Arizona and Duke, 9:39 tomorrow night. That one should be really good. Caleb Love for Arizona plays Duke for like the 92nd time. Arkansas and Texas Tech tomorrow night, 10:09 when they play. So that's your 4 games for your Thursday night slate. BYU, Bama, Maryland, Florida, Arizona, Duke, and Arkansas, Texas Tech.
You said 10:09?
Live from Chase Center in San Francisco.
Okay.
So if I come in here bleary-eyed if I show up to the golf course bleary-eyed on Friday morning, you know what to blame. The lovely game that is Arkansas, Texas Tech. So that's coming up. We'll get more into that tomorrow. Last night, South Carolina baseball, they fall 13-8, Preston, a game that you deemed the biggest of the year.
Yeah, and I stand by it. I stand by it because...
Stand on business.
Yeah, no, not that. Nope. Don't do that.
Okay.
But I do stand by my statement. Because it was an opportunity for them to break a losing streak coming off the sweep from Oklahoma, which they didn't do. It was an opportunity to gather themselves, prepare for the big series coming into town with Tennessee coming, break some previous patterns that they had exhibited, and they didn't do any of the things. They actually continued some of the bad patterns that we've seen, and haven't prepared themselves for this series that's coming this weekend.
And the series that comes this weekend is number 1, Tennessee. They will roll into town. I'll give you a chance to win some tickets coming up in the next segment. We got a pair of tickets, and we'll give that away in the next segment. But last night, 13-8. South Carolina threw 11 pitchers last night. Now, none of them threw a substantial amount of pitches, so I'm going to guess, given it was a Tuesday night game, everybody will be available on Friday night for Tennessee and whomever they may need to slow down the volunteer bats, because, Preston, there's a couple numbers here that are starting to stand out significantly. Number one is that record against the top 10. You've got that?
1-10. 1-9, I believe.
1-9, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's you got more. I think I said top 10 against top 21 teams, because North Carolina last night was number 21. So 1-9, in the 10 games against top 21 teams. The Gamecocks 17-9 overall. So it gives you an idea. All 9 losses are to good teams, and that actually kind of brings you to another point. Because now that I say that out loud, that's solid. If all 9 of your losses are essentially to top 20, now we'll just round down for a second to top 20 teams. But that's not South Carolina baseball.
Yeah, you
should be 4-5, or at absolute worst 3-7.
You can say that's solid, but that's not it. That's not the expectations for the job, and that's not the expectations for the program. Also, the problem is they're going to face a lot more teams that are in the top 25. And so if they only beat the teams that are outside of the top 25, the season's going to be unsuccessful.
Okay. So we got that's part of it. That's one stat, the 1-9. The other, South Carolina last night, 4th consecutive game now of giving up double-digit runs. 12 to Arkansas, 12 to Arkansas, 11 to Arkansas, and last night 13. So the Gamecock pitching now wheezing a little bit here as they head in further into SEC play. We also had women's softball yesterday. Hey, kudos to Ashley Chastain Woodard's team. 6-0 over Clemson. They continue to roll. They head down to Baton Rouge this coming weekend to take on LSU, who is currently ranked number 3. We also have had some spring practice, and I'll tell you what, Captain Dave, let's hear a little bit from Mike Furry. Now, Preston was laughing in the previous segment because we heard about Nick Harbor, and Mike Furry was telling Nick Harbor, hey, these freshman wide receivers are coming in. This is going to be great for you. You're going to love this. They're going to push you.
Awesome.
This is going to be great. Well, here is Mike Furry talking about, this is number 2 again, his freshman wide receivers.
Well, I think we recruited every single one of them because of their talent, right? And so, the first thing that always goes is things slow down. They slow down, a lot of thinking going on, and their skill set and their talent kind of doesn't show right away. And a lot of that's just really becoming comfortable, right? And so we've challenged these guys a lot over the last 6 weeks since we really kind of been doing all this stuff of trying to get these guys to understand what their assignments are, understand how to get lined up, or understand how to line up, and then execute and perform the details that we're asking them to do in regards to the routes that we're asking them to run. So, when you look at it collectively, all of them have taken a deep breath over the last 6 weeks. They've all gotten in. They've been, Coach Day does a phenomenal job in our weight program to get guys acclimated because it's rigorous, it's demanding, and it's structured, and it's kind of like playing the game. And so they've all responded very well to that, and that's helped them be ready for spring ball. And what these guys have shown over the first 3 days, I've been very impressed.
Only wide receiver missing from that freshman group is Donovan Murph. I saw Jordan Kay, I believe, with the state paper, put out Lex Cyrus broke the vertical record. I have a hard time believing this, but this is what he put out in terms of a note from, I was looking to see if we've got it on here anywhere, but Lex Cyrus broke the vertical record for wide receivers with it says Mike Furry said yesterday, freshman wide receiver Lex Cyrus broke the school record for a vertical jump with a 40.5-inch leap. Cyrus is only 5'10", so it wasn't the wide receiver record, it was the school record. Does that seem right to you, 40.5? Could you?
Maybe. I don't know. Okay.
40.5 seems right around where
I feel like a lot of people jump that.
But, I realize those are elite, but I'm thinking of guys like Sidney Rice, who had the ability to jump. Was Sidney Sidney was a good jumper. He was tall. Now that I say that out loud, I don't know what Sidney.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if we're talking about these tests, you're never going to be jumping a vertical jump in football. So there's a big difference between, as Mike Furry just stated, sure, you can jump high, but now you have to catch the ball, right? And then you have to come down with the ball. and then you have to secure it. So there's a lot of things. Yes, that is a great ingredient to have. Does that guarantee success? Obviously not.
Also, Marquell Blackwell spoke yesterday, and Captain Dave, this is clip number 22. He talked about the running back room and having an alpha back, similar to, say, a Rocket Sanders or a back by committee. Here's what he had to say.
Well, obviously, if you got an alpha, it makes it all easier, right? You know, and I mean, I've been around a lot of different. I've been around. You having an alpha, you having 2 guys, or having 3 guys. You know, and however that works. You know what I mean? You know, ultimately, you know, we're gonna need 3 to 4 guys in this conference, and you know, and just making sure we have consistent play, and those guys competing with each other day in and day out, and just making sure they prepare themselves for it. You know, so I mean, that's the topic every day in our meetings. You know, and we just got to continue to progress and stay in the moment, take it a day at a time, get better at the things we need to get better at, and just keep moving forward.
He does have a bit of a kind of a dad laugh there, almost like he knows he's got the joke going, and hits him with kind of the ha-ha. But he's right. And now, do they have a lot of time to figure that out? Because I say this only because, what is it, South Carolina lost, why am I blanking? But after 2 years ago, it was like, yeah, DeCarrion Joyner will be fine.
I'd argue that quote unquote, even though this word is pretty ridiculous, the alpha, whatever that means, but a number 1 running back, we don't need any time to figure that out. We'll know. We should know. The only question last year was whether or not the number 1 running back was going to be healthy.
Right.
There wasn't any question whether somebody was going to push him for that position. If you're actually truly that, we don't need a lot of time figuring this out.
803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in. We'll get into a little bit of across-the-country news. Andrew Luck, the GM of Stanford, not of like San Francisco or a professional team. The GM fired the football coach yesterday. We'll explain that a little bit to you when we return. You're listening to The Early Game.
And on the roads this morning, getting a little better on I-20, but I-20 has been a mess all morning long. The one at Broad River Road is now cleared and out of the way. Do have a record hard scrabble on Clemson Road, North Main at Plumbers Road, 378 at I-77, 302 at I-26, and Kittiwake near Emmanuel Church. So problems are still out there this morning. It's Captain Dave, WIS-TV Traffic Center.
I have gotten word from Mr. Rock Lucas, my playing partner on Friday. Our 107.5 The Game tournament is officially sold out. We are completely full, so it's going to be a lot of fun out there. You can always come by and hang out for just a little while, but these spots are now full. We'll be hanging out in the morning. We'll have Saki's Wine and Spirits for some early morning beverages, Hudson's Smokehouse Wings, onion sausage. Hardee's will be providing some breakfast as well. Firehouse Subs has lunch. It's going to be a really fun time tomorrow out there on Friday. Tomorrow's Thursday. See, Prest, I'm a day ahead. I'm already so fired up for the NCAA tournament. I'm a day ahead. But it's going to be a lot of fun on Friday morning as we get up and get going for the 107.5 The Game Spring Golf Tournament, also partnering with the Lexington County Gamecock Club. So I'll look forward to that. 803-404-6100. It was like a coaches gone wild day yesterday. One of them had already gone wild and was reined in and promptly given his pink slip, Preston Thorne.
Who's that? You talking about your boy from Stanford?
Troy Taylor.
Oh, yeah. I don't think the story about that is that he got fired, because who even knows who Troy Taylor was, unless you're a Stanford enthusiast. The bigger story, the actual story, is that this guy waltzes into this position who's never had any experience at this position and just decides, hey, I think we need to make some changes around here. That guy being Andrew Luck. That position being the general manager of Stanford football. That, I think, is a way bigger story than Troy Taylor getting fired, because Troy Taylor is expendable as far as coaches are concerned.
They are an ACC. Remember, they are an ACC school. We have to monitor them a little more closely now. Mm-hmm. Andrew Luck puts out a statement. Let me read his statement for you.
Mm-hmm.
Since beginning my role as general manager, I have been thoroughly assessing the entire Stanford football program. It has been clear that certain aspects of the program need change. Additionally, in recent days, there have been significant attention to Stanford investigations into previous years related to Coach Taylor. After continued consideration, it is evident to me, notice he says me, not us, not our organization, it is evident to me that our program needs a reset. In consultation with university leadership, I no longer believe that Coach Taylor is the right coach to lead our football program. Coach Taylor has been informed today, and the change is effective immediately. This comes from general manager, not athletic director, not president, general manager Andrew Luck of Stanford. This is a wild role that we're kind of seeing. And by the way, I do wonder now just slightly if Stanford is in the middle of spring practice.
Yeah, well, because he goes on to say that an acting coach may be named for the 2025 season. So they may just have a sitting duck coach.
Does Andrew Luck take over?
No, I don't think Andrew wants to do that. Obviously, Andrew has a lot of passed down experience from his father, Oliver Luck, who's commissioners and doing all the things. So it's not about whether or not Andrew Luck is capable of doing his job. He's always been known as being very intelligent. All of that's cool. This is something that is coming to college football. And what a lot of organizations are going to have to do is they're going to have to figure out who's at the top of that org chart. Is it the GM?
Yeah.
Is it the head coach? Is it the AD? Who's actually pulling these strings here? Because I'm pretty sure Troy Taylor didn't hire
Andrew
Luck. Okay, so who hired him? Who gets fired? Who has the final say? Who gets the call? What is the role of a GM? This is all things that are developing. These are all things that are new. Now, to be very clear, Troy Taylor was under investigation for accusations of being inappropriate with women on 2 different occasions. So he had that. Also, 3-9. So there wasn't a lot that was keeping Andrew Luck tethered to Troy Taylor. There was performance, and then there was things off the field. So easy. You can go. But what I'm more interested in is how this position is going to shake out. Is this something that's unique to Stanford? Is this something that unique? Let's see. North Carolina has a GM, Lombardi with Bill Belichick. Are they in cahoots? Who calls the final? Is the AD on top of them? What are the organizational structures that come into place as far as college football is concerned?
You've got a great question, because this is obviously becoming more and more prevalent in college football with these GMs. We're seeing these programs, but the GMs are more related to roster management and not organizational structure, as you just said.
Well, you know who's at the top of the roster, apparently? The coach. His name is always at the top, so I guess he's part of roster management. In this situation, I don't know. And that's where, if I'm the head coach, I'm not going to hire a GM that could fire me, or there's a lot of different ways that this is playing out.
Yeah, that's a great point. We'd have to go back with the Stanford, and that kind of slipped under the radar. I just remember I was telling you.
By the way, Ron Rivera hired as Cal's GM.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means. Look out.
Justin Wilcox.
I don't know.
We've talked about spring games, and we'll circle back to that in just a second, but it's a changing of the guard of how we're seeing college football run. And when you're at a program now, if you're obviously Kirby Smart, if you're Kalen DeBoer, I guess Billy Napier, Shane Beamer, Dabo Swinney, you're answering to the AD. Jeremiah Donati, as far as we know, you're still in charge. The general manager over there is not. But if you're one of these smaller coaches and you don't have that cachet, it sounds like the general manager can easily be put in place to fire and hire you.
Also, is this an escape hatch for some of those coaches that you, say, a Dabo? Does he get to ascend to general manager?
That's a good question, yeah.
Is that his next position, as opposed to maybe how they used to ascend to athletic director? Now can you just become the general manager and you get control? I think this is a very interesting play. Again, this is not about Andrew Luck. Universally lauded as being extremely intelligent, alumni, all of those things. So that's cool. It's just interesting that, as you pointed out, statements say I, me, not we and us. I did this in my position.
803-404-6100. It was a coaches gone wild kind of day. One was fired, and then Mike Gundy took to the podium.
And let me put Gundy in my category of dudes who talk too much, but I still kind of like.
Okay.
Still kind of like the guy.
Mike Gundy is proposing a Bedlam. We all know Bedlam got canceled. Mike Gundy is proposing a Bedlam spring game. Try to follow the mind of Mike Gundy as he weaves his way through this idea, which was clearly not thought of before speaking, but is being thought of while speaking. Here's Mike Gundy yesterday.
Honestly, that's something that we've talked about. I think it's a great idea. I had kind of forgot about it until it got brought up. Somebody had texted me an article or something about that, and when you read it, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, honestly, for us, we should do a home and home with OU in the spring. They have I think ours is on, I don't know what the date is, but it's a Saturday prior to the last week, something like that. Okay, so they should come here on the 19th, and I think theirs is earlier in the year. We should go down there and play a home and home in the spring against them. Charge $25 a head. They can use it for NIL. We'll use it for NIL. If they don't want to do 2 in one spring, we can do one here this year, do it there next year, and split the gate. Because we get tired of practicing against each other. It's not going to be a live game because, I don't know what Coach Venables would say, but I would be concerned with making it live just because of injury. But nobody really has live scrimmages anymore, so you make it a full thud like we're doing, and practice against them just like they do in the NFL.
You could it's just, I forgot about it. Yeah, now that I think about it, Oklahoma, we should play Oklahoma. I don't know what Brett Venables thinks about it. We should have a game, 2 games. We should have if they don't want to do 2 games, we'll do 1 game, 1 here, 1 there. Yeah, you know what? I think we should have a thud practice.
Again, this is called the brainstorming session. Nothing wrong with that. No bad ideas. Cool. But that's what you do at the bar. That's what you do in your office. That's what you do after hours. You don't just propose it. You just don't say, oh, yeah, I think this is something we might be able to do. There's a lot of faults in this logic. Mainly the main one being, how do you contain 2 teams with people looking? You know, the main reason why people get into fights is that usually somebody gets embarrassed, right? Like we're playing around and I get the best of you and everybody goes, ooh. And now we got to fight for real. You don't think that same thing's going to happen in a quote-unquote live thud matchup when I knock the quarterback out and the crowd goes, ooh. And then you tell them to go back to the corner. Hey, guys, it's just thud. Let's just relax. Everybody getting some work here. It's not going to work, brother. You've been around football long enough to not say something this dumb.
But he did.
Well,
and it's not the first time.
Well, it's my guy.
He's actually on quite the role of saying really dumb stuff. I mean, if we had a coach who was ascending the rankings
it's my guy.
of really dumb things to say when Mike's become president, Mike Gundy's gotten into the top 3 with ease.
The only issue is, Mike, you got to get those wins back up to 10.
Yeah.
The only reason you can say all of this dumb stuff is because you win a lot of ball games. When you start slipping into that 6-7 range, now we got to take the mic from you.
803-404-6100. We'll come back. And, well, other dumb stuff was happening. The New York Giants.
Oh, boy, I've been waiting all show to talk about this.
Good. Preston's got some thorns, maybe some buds and some roses to give out. It might be a second issue of Thorns, Buds, and Roses this week. We'll let you hear what he's got to say. You're listening to the early game. 8:34 as we roll along here on your Wednesday morning. Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, and producer producer Captain Dave Adair, who is in for Jen. Jen is having surgery. By the way, you, as they just heard, they heard your voice. They heard your voice. With Ed, I have to do the traffic, and it turns into a disaster. And your mic is off now, or you got it potted down. It's like you've been doing this for many years. Preston, can we make a small exception for Captain Dave to talk?
Just did.
Okay, there you go. Hope you enjoyed that quick moment for you right there. That's good. That was your moment of fame. Captain Dave Adair, everybody. Captain Dave Adair. 803-404-6100. Well, Preston, Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, same room, same quarterback room, same locker room, same motivational quotes, speeches. What do you got for us?
Oh, this is going to be so good. Terrible team. This is going to be so much fun to watch. Russell Wilson just signed a one-year contract with the New York Football Giants. 1 year, $10 million guaranteed. Could be up to $21 million. And his backup quarterback is Jameis Winston. And their backup quarterback is Tommy DeVito.
And DeVito's got, if you haven't paid attention, a bit of an ego. So,
you think?
Yeah.
Are there any other third-string quarterbacks they were aware of that had their own agent perusing the sidelines, who we know their agent? There's nobody else that we know of. So this is as of now, this is the quarterback room for the New York Football Giants. And if you're a Giants fan, buckle up. This is going to be a lot of fun. Jameis Wilson, I don't know if you remember from last year, but Jameis Winston kept his par for the course. He had 13 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, keeping up with his normal 1-for-1 ratio. If you remember, he asked the Lord to deliver him from pick sixes.
Right. So
we have yet to see if that's happened yet. Tommy DeVito 0-for-2 as a starting quarterback last year, and Russell Wilson has officially entered the early games definition of journeyman.
Yeah, yes. 4 teams.
Fourth team. Can you name them all?
Yeah. This one's easy. Seattle to Denver, Denver to Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh to New York.
Okay, quick. Now, here's the problem.
Next year, it's going to become more difficult.
Here's the problem. It's a one-year deal. And if you've noticed, there's been a rapid succession of these teams. If you look at the pie chart, Seattle's very big. Denver's smaller. Steelers even smaller. Giants, I've already told them, hey, man, this is a one-year thing. It's not going to happen. But this led me on one of my things was that could somebody play themselves out of the Hall of Fame? And I believe Russell has done that. He has played himself out of the Hall of Fame. He started off his career as an early Hall of Fame contender with the statistics and the rings to back it up and all of that. And it's only gone downhill. It's been downhill for a long time now. Even those last 3 years of Seattle, the let Russ cook years, not great. So there's going to be an argument here when this thing comes to an end, as it's rapidly coming to an end, whether Russell's a Hall of Famer. And I would say he's not. And if I'll give you some of the names of the other quarterbacks who are in the Hall of Fame who changed teams, not the ones who stayed with the same teams, I would just say, who would you rather have? You ready? Would you rather have Russell Wilson or Brett Favre?
Favre.
Would you rather have Russell Wilson or Joe Montana?
Well, yeah, Montana.
Yeah, see, it was even a no-brainer.
Are we talking about even today? Montana against Wilson today?
Would you rather have Russell Wilson or Peyton Manning?
Yeah, Manning.
Would you rather have Russell Wilson or Kurt Warner?
Yeah, okay. Give me Kurt Warner.
Yeah, it's not even close.
I'm more down. You're touching on such a touchy subject with Kurt Warner and me.
Okay.
Like, I'm not as high on Kurt Warner as a lot. I know we're...
You didn't like that movie?
Didn't watch that movie. Can't speak to it because I didn't watch it.
It's still out there. Worst movie, the Kurt Warner movie or the Sean Payton movie?
I've seen the Sean Payton movie. That's bad.
Okay.
Kevin James playing Sean Payton. Kevin James, and I love Kevin James. Kevin James should have to give back several paychecks from King of Queens for doing that movie.
Hey, watch your mouth. King of Queens, greatest.
That was great. No, that's what I'm saying. He should have to give those paychecks. He should have to give back for doing that. That's what I'm saying. That was such a good show.
So here's Russ. Out of potential Hall of Fame quarterbacks who changed teams, and I just went through it very, very quickly. You have other, obviously, ones who stayed on the same team. But those guys all, even in their second teams, they all led their second teams to success. Brett Favre had success with the Vikings, Montana with the Chiefs, Peyton Manning, obviously, with the Broncos, Kurt Warner with the Cardinals. They've all had, and the Giants maybe to an extent, they all had success with other teams. Russ has not. He has not had any success with any of these other teams that he's played for. It's yet to be determined with the Giants, but I just think it's a wrap.
Okay.
And if you're the Giants and you're saying our best option right now is Russell Wilson, and behind him, if that goes wrong, we're gonna go to Mr. Eat the W or whatever he's got going on. It's not going to be a great season for the Giants. You can mark it. I know what you can do, Bill. You can officially mark the Giants out of my free agency.
You know what? Actually,
I will not be a Giants fan this year.
Yeah, we got to get to you real quick. Here's what I think the Giants just did now that you say that. They have successfully lined up the number one pick next year to draft not Quinn Ewers, to draft Arch Manning.
Okay. Is that what's happening here?
Give me another quarterback real quick. Lenoris is eligible next year technically because it's his third year. Mm-hmm. Who else? Garrett Nussmeier? Sussmeier? You going to go Sussmeier on that? Does he rise to number one? Who else am I leaving out here?
I don't know, man.
I'm doing quick. I'm doing extremely quick thinking. And for the orange-clad folks, no, I'm not including Cade Klubnik. I think that's I'm trying to – I hadn't thought that deep into it. But anyway, point being is, they've successfully – before April, locked up the 2026 number one pick.
Yeah, this just can't be your plan for quarterback going into the season. This can be your plan if some crazy things happen during the season. You're like, hey, we need something. But for this to be your actual plan, it's and just again, Russell Wilson, his brand of annoying, plus Jameis Winston, his brand of annoying in the same room.
Oh man,
it's gonna be cinema.
Real quick. New York Giant quarterback coach. I didn't think to look this up. Who is this lucky person here? Is it Frank Signetti Jr.? Is that who it's going to be? He's I have to do a little research. Some lucky. Who is the lucky person who gets to step in and coach these two in that room, like having to deal with that room? That sounds awful. That sounds awful. Shea Tierney. Third year.
Good luck.
He looks like a guy also that does not put up with nonsense.
Oh, well, good luck with that because nonsense is coming his way. Have you not seen Jameis Winston in his man on the street interviews? Who is more ridiculous during their warm-ups? The Jameis Winston exercises or the Russell Wilson visualizing the crowd as he walks? These two dudes, this is going to be hilarious. I will promise you this. Thank you for listening. We will keep a gauge on this all year because this is going to be fantastic.
803-404-6100. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up. I do need to ask Preston real quick about that free agency question because something popped up yesterday from J.J. McCarthy, and we'll get to that.
I didn't like it.
You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing. You know what they say. If you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek. Well, I say don't get a leak. Go ahead. Call Mid-State Roofing today and line up that maintenance contract. It's time for you to do it. You don't want to wait another day. We're going to have some of those heavy spring storms that come along, those heavy rains, and you want to make sure that you already have that maintenance contract in place now before anything goes wrong. In 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, Mid-State Roofing is there to help you. So give them a phone call, 803-356-1919. Again, it's 803-356-1919. From high rises to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Mid-State Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that keeps your operation dry and running long into the future. So make the phone call, 803-356-1919. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. We're wrapping it up here on a Wednesday morning as we get you up and get you going. Hope you're doing well out there. Hope you are off to the office where it's supposed to be a nice day, and apparently rain set to come in this coming weekend, so we'll see how that works. Tomorrow we'll do some previewing of the NCAA basketball tournament, get you set for the first 4 games on Thursday night. Should be a lot of fun, and then set you up for our 107.5 The Game golf tournament coming up Friday out at Charwood. Again, a reminder, we'll have all kinds of stuff going on out there. The tournament is full. We have officially filled up. It's the 107.5 The Game Spring Golf Classic, partnering with Lexington County Gamecock Club this year, and we are officially full. Preston Thorne, and I think you said you got to leave early, so we're going to have an early first shot from you.
I'll be ready to go.
He'll be ready to go. So make sure you come on out and check that out with us on Friday. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in here as we kind of get towards wrapping things up. Yeah, I did need to bring this up to you. Yesterday, J.J. McCarthy was asked if the Vikings have told him if he is their starting quarterback. He was on the Up and Adams show on FanDuel, and his response was, "I'm happy they didn't because I try to earn it every single day, and I never want that to be given to me. It's such a privilege and opportunity to give me that chance, and I'm just going to make the most of it every single day."
What a leader. What a leader.
Oh, are they suckering you back in?
What a leader. No, JJ's my guy, but I still have some opportunities to make this chance. They need to make that official before I make this decision.
The good news for you that the Vikings appear to have moved on from the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes. It appears they're now. It is interesting because I believe McCarthy was set to be the starter last year before the knee injury. Correct?
That was the plan. He got injured, and then Sam Darnold took over. And look, Sam Darnold got paid, and he's doing well. So that was the plan. So we'll see if we can continue with that.
Well, so free agency still open for you.
Still free agency, but you can safely eliminate me from the Giants. Also, feels like the Steelers are going to, quote unquote, win the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes, so you can mark me out from them.
Ooh.
So, so the teams are eliminating themselves.
Yeah, okay.
Cowboys are already out.
All right. So, see, it's all working out safely for you, and we'll arrive at a new team here in the very near future. A couple other things from today. We'll kind of wrap it up and move on, but the baseball team, obviously, last night, 13-8. And, Preston, we're not going to spend much time the remainder of the week on the baseball team. We'll get into some of it on Friday, but obviously – number 1, Tennessee comes to town. You've lost 4 straight, and all 4 of those games you've given up double-digit runs. You're 1-9 against top 21 teams, essentially the top 25, but we're just going to round down. It's a program that now you got today and you got Thursday, and I guess you got Friday morning to pick up the pieces and have a little team meeting. Is this players' only meeting time?
I hope not.
Have we hit players only meeting time?
Well, yes. Actually, in the things that have happened, we have hit the time when players only meetings tend to happen, and that is only bad news. It's one of my tenets that I will also stand on.
Okay, and so we'll keep an ear out. You will be able to hear Paul Maneri tomorrow night right here on 107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach, 6 p.m. We'll have Carolina Calls with Paul Maneri tomorrow night for that and get you invested in that. So as we wrap things up here today, also we have talked spring games, Preston Thorne and Mike Gundy. Mike Gundy still your guy, kind of like the Vikings? Who are you closer to siding with for the fall? Mike Gundy and his Cowboys or J.J. McCarthy and his Vikings?
Mike Gundy has years of credit built up.
Okay.
He has years of credit built up. It's not a. He said enough stupid things that there's not much more that he could say that could sway me from him. I just again, it's like Patino, man. Probably shouldn't. I kind of like these dudes. I don't know. What do you want me to do?
Well, that's the way
the heart wants what the heart wants.
That's actually the same way I feel about Dan Hurley. So
there you go, man. It's like, hey, man,
I'm pretty sure I shouldn't be on the pooling side of Dan Hurley, on the fandom side of Dan Hurley, but I kind of can't help myself with him. The arrogance, when you win back-to-back national championships, you're allowed to do that.
I get it.
We got all that. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in if you want to do so this morning. We'll wrap it up. Again, congratulations to South Carolina softball last night, Preston. Anytime you can beat Clemson, that's a really good thing.
Always a big win. Always a big win, especially where the Clemson program was and where they are, I believe. That's a big win for the girls.
Yeah, great win, 6-0 for Ashley Chastain Woodard's Ball Club. They will now get set for LSU this coming weekend down in Baton Rouge. According to Gamecocks Online, LSU ranked as the number 3 team in the country. All right, you feel like you're ready tomorrow to show up and talk some college basketball, Sweet 16?
I'm ready to go, but leaving this.
Okay.
You have a 2-hour car ride in front of you.
Oh, no.
Would you rather have Russell Wilson riding shotgun or Jameis Winston?
Jameis is going to make me laugh.
Until?
Like, he's going to say dumb stuff. But I sit around other people that say dumb stuff, not you or Jen, friends that I have. I have experience with that. Russell Wilson is going to be annoying beyond belief. Give me Jameis Winston all day and every day.
Solid.
I'll take a 4-hour car ride.
Might bring that back for a poll question
4-hour
tomorrow.
car ride with Jameis Wilson. Winston over 2 hours with Russell Wilson.
See y'all tomorrow.
Bill Gunner for AAA Heating and Air. It is that time of year where you're cutting your heat on, you're cutting it off, you're cutting the air conditioner on, you're cutting that off. Your AAA, your heating and air system is getting an absolute workout. And if it's not working properly, it is time for you to call AAA Heating and Air, 803-677-1500. If you need repairs, you can get 12-month payment plans on repairs with no credit check required. All you need to be is a homeowner with a valid bank account. You heard that right. If you need just repairs to your unit, not even a brand new unit, all you need to do is call 803-677-1500 and you can get 12-month payment plans on repairs with no credit check. So don't wait another day. Call AAA Heating and Air and let them help you out. 803-677-1500. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.